Good morning. I'm recording for you today from Alice Springs, and I'm going to talk about my thoughts on The Fault in Our Stars movie, which I saw last night. So I really loved this book and made me cry and think about life, and it was really beautiful. And I've been looking forward to this movie for months, and it was part of me being excited about getting out of Arnhem this year. I mean, that sounds really negative, but I was just excited to get back into town. I love going to the cinema, and I was really looking forward to this movie. But I have to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out and explain all the things that I didn't like about the movie, and then once we've got all that negative stuff out of the way, then I'll talk about what I did like about the movie and how it was a good adaptation. It's been a while since I read the book. I think it was the start of last year that I read it. So I couldn't really remember what kind of character Augustus Waters was. So I had this weird experience where I was watching the movie and Augustus Waters was being a bit of a douche. And I was like, hang on, but I remember him being really cool. I remember having a fictional book character crush on him, but in a vicarious way, if I was Hazel Grace, then I would totally be loving him. But as Emmeline, I'm not. But anyway, I felt like Ansel Elgort, or whatever his name is, the actor that plays Augustus Waters, was being true to the character in a way that made me realise that I didn't like the character. He's domineering, he's overbearing, he orders for Hazel at the restaurant and he cuts her off when he's giving a soliloquy and she interrupts him, and he's so smug, so freaking smug. He's got this little smile going on, and I kind of get why Hazel loves him, but also I just couldn't get behind him as a character. I mean, no, I'm supposed to be like that, but it was just really annoying. And it made it hard for me to get invested in their love story. Okay, so this is spoilers all throughout, okay, just so you know. When I read the book, I didn't understand the transition between them being friends and Hazel keeping a distance and them having sex in the Anne Frank house. They don't actually have sex in the Anne Frank house, they just make out and have sex later. But she's all on, keeping him at a distance. You can tell she still loves him, and he's perfectly happy to tell her that he loves her, but she's just friends, and then they're having sex. And I know it's you could see it coming, but I never could work out what that point was. What changed? Was it because they were in the Anne Frank house and she realised that life is short and they're teenagers dying of cancer, so they should have sex as soon as possible? I don't know. In a way, the movie made more sense of that. The filming of the Anne Frank house scene was really good and it was really well done, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Well, I could understand a little bit more what changed, and it didn't seem as abrupt. And so there's that relationship shift there, but I couldn't understand, when she's talking about our great love, I was like, what great love? I just couldn't see them. I just didn't feel like they had that chemistry, that amazing love together that I really got from the book. I just don't think that came across. She'd put her head on his chest and he'd put his arm around her, but it seemed a little bit like they were pretending. It didn't seem real to me. So I've got 3 more things that I didn't like that I'll talk about. I have this pet peeve with American movies that depict people who aren't really well off. They're supposed to be not poor but not rich, kind of middle class but maybe lower middle class, and just having heaps of money. Also the fact that everyone in American movies has to be really good looking. So in the book, The Fault in Our Stars, Hazel describes her parents as being overweight. She describes it in a really funny way. They're like lumbering beings kind of thing. It's not in a fatophobic way. From their conversation, Augustus kind of says the same thing. His parents are they basically say that all adults in Indianapolis are big. But Hazel's mum is super skinny and her dad is just, slim. And same for Augustus's parents. When they want to go to Amsterdam, Hazel's mum says, "I'm sorry, honey, we can't afford it." And in the book, it's obvious, she says it like, oh, the reason they can't afford it is because they spent all their money on their sick kid who's got cancer. But yet, in the movie, they're depicted as having this huge, nice, double-story house for a mum and dad and one kid. And the same for Augustus. He has this huge basement and they have this huge house. I just don't see how they could afford it. Having supported two older siblings and supported Augustus through cancer, through the American health system being completely rooted, as someone described it to me, like, it just seems really unrealistic to me. And that's the thing that annoys me about these movies and TV shows, is they normalise wealth as if everyone just has this level of affluence and it's not a thing. So whenever there's poverty in TV shows or movies, it's like an issue thing. It's kind of equivalent to having gay characters and it being a gay issue, as opposed to having gay characters and it's just the diversity of human experience. So that was two things actually, that they're skinny and rich. The other thing was like the egging scene. I don't remember, I think I might have felt kind of uncomfortable when it happened in the book, but I felt really bad for Monica having her car egged. Like, that does a lot of damage to a car, and I don't feel like Monica is actually a horrible person. And actually, this is something that is explored in the book. Like, Hazel is empathetic towards Monica because she feels like she wants the people in her life to keep a distance because they're going to get hurt. And that's what Monica does. She gets a distance from Isaac because she doesn't want to be dating the dude who's got no eyes. She doesn't want that, and she's honest about that. In the movie, it's just, oh, she's a bitch because she broke up with him, and I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't feel comfortable with destroying public property and threatening Monica's mum to go back inside her house. Like, I know it's supposed to be this nice moment, and in the book there's a poignancy there because Hazel takes a photo of Isaac and Augustus on her phone, and it's like this, it's really well described, the photo. She takes this photo and they look beautiful, and then she says, that was the last photo that I had of Augustus. So it's this poignancy there, but that didn't come across in the film. Alright, I've finished complaining about The Fault in Our Stars movie. Now I can talk about the bits that I liked. Number one, it was really beautifully shot. It was also well adapted. So when I saw the trailer, that's one more thing that annoyed me. I'm just going to cut in here and say I hate it when trailers for movies have scenes that are cut in the actual movie. Once I've seen the trailer, when I'm watching the movie, I'm ticking off the scenes as I've seen them in the trailer. But when it doesn't happen, it's like this, it doesn't tick off. It's really frustrating. It's probably a little bit OCD of me. So yeah, in the trailer, there's the scene where Augustus tells Hazel that he loves her for the first time, and they're in a restaurant and they're inside, and I strongly remembered that they were outside in the book. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, that's kind of stupid, like, why did they do that? And Jocelyn, when she saw the movie, she said, yeah, it made sense, but she didn't explain why, probably because spoilers. When I saw it, I understood. So in the book, they're outside, and there's these beautiful leaves coming down, and there's some metaphor about the leaves and the stars. In the movie, they're in the restaurant, but there's trees inside the restaurant with little globes on them, and so the globes are kind of like stars, and I feel like if they had filmed it outside, it would have been overwrought. Like, it wouldn't have that sense of intimacy that you get from being inside. They would have probably filmed the stars, and it would have just been kind of cheesy. But the way that they did it, they have the trees inside, they have the lights, which are stars/leaves, and they have that sense of intimacy, so they have it both ways, and it's really good. Then they pick up on that imagery later on in the movie after Augustus has died. When Hazel's in her room, she's sitting on the floor leaning against her bed, and then they pan over the ceiling of her room where she's got like glow-in-the-dark stars stuck, and keep going, and she's got these like fairy lights, but like globe ones, over her desk, which all teenagers and young people seem to have these days. And I felt like there was a good resonance there between the stars. So the stars are also the champagne. The stars are for the champagne. The stars are for their star-crossed lovers. And the stars for the fault is in our stars, is not in ourselves. I just thought there was a good resonance there, and that was well done. One more thing I wanted to talk about. When I first read The Fault in Our Stars, I was really confused about this thing that Augustus says all the time. Whenever anyone asks him how he is, he says, "Oh, me, I'm grand. I'm on a roller coaster that only goes up." And I just couldn't understand it, because that's actually not a good thing. Like, when people say I'm on the up, without using the roller coaster imagery, that's like a good thing. Like, you know, things are great and things are getting better. But being on a roller coaster that's going up is actually a really shitty thing. You're just like slowly, slowly creeping up. It's scary because you're worried you're going to fall back, and it's not the thrilling part where you whoosh down. So you analogize that to life. You're struggling, you're struggling, you're struggling, you're struggling, and when finally life gets good, then you're just going to go down, which is what happens to Augustus. He's struggling through life, he struggled through the cancer, his life gets good, it's at the pinnacle, he's in love with Hazel Grace, he's the small percentage of 18-year-old, or 17 in the book, virgins with not a full set of legs, then becomes a not virgin with not a full set of legs. So he's at the pinnacle, and then he dies. I just figured that metaphor out myself. I didn't really understand it until now. In the movie, it's really beautiful because the part where they go to the Anne Frank house, and the assistant, who, by the way, I just want to say, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful, that hair. Whew. Anyway, she comes out of the Anne Frank house and she says, "There's no elevator, I'm sorry, there's lots of stairs." And Hazel Grace is like, "Bye Dee, I'll do it." And she's really stubborn and determined. And so she goes up one set of stairs and then another set of stairs, and Augustus and the assistant are trying to help her, but also trying to do it in a way that doesn't hurt her pride. Struggling up, she keeps struggling up, and it's really well done. Like, it's not emotionally overwrought. There's no like swelling, inspirational background music. It's just, this is what she has to do, and she's going to do it. And finally she gets up to the last part, and there's like just a ladder, and she has to climb up this ladder. And this is what made me think of the roller coaster that only goes up. This is what Hazel's done as well, and I don't know if this was a metaphor in the book, but I see a lot of resonance there. The roller coaster that's only going up. It's hard, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard. But at the pinnacle, she makes out with Augustus Waters for the first time. And then after that, everything goes to shit, because they go back down. He tells her he's lit up like a Christmas tree. That is the most beautiful, poignant, sad line I've ever heard. He did the cancer scan, whatever it's called. I lit up like a Christmas tree, Hazel Grace. So sad. Oh, one more thing that annoyed me. At the end, when she finds the letter, which I thought was well adapted because it was kind of convoluted in the book, she finds the letter that Peter Van Houten gave to her, and Augustus Waters finishes it saying, "Okay, Hazel Grace," and she says, "Okay." That's not how it ends. It ends with him saying, "You don't get to choose if you get hurt in this world, but you do get some say in who hurts you. I like my choices. I hope she likes hers too." And then Hazel says, in the book, "I do, Augustus, I do." And so it's her speaking in the present tense. She still loves him, she's still alive, and also "I do." They're like symbolically married and connected in this way. But they just made it into "okay." Why? I think that I need to rewatch this movie now that I know all the disappointments and be able to fully appreciate how good it is. But I feel like such a rookie because I listened to the hype. I got excited about a book to movie adaptation because everyone said it was good, and I just got disappointed. Because you know that feeling when you go into a cinema and even if it's not that great of a movie, you just get totally immersed and you forget about your own life and you're just in that story, in that moment, and you come out and you're blinking and you're like, okay, I've got to reconfigure to, you know, current time, what's going on. I didn't get that when I watched The Fault in Our Stars, and I really was craving that emotional disconnection. I was really hoping to get completely sucked into the story and crying and really invested in the characters, and then come out and then leave it behind and go back to my own life. But that didn't happen. At no point did I forget that it was a movie and it wasn't real. At no point did I stop thinking about what's going on in my own life. And that is probably, to me, the biggest disappointment. So I think I'm definitely going to have to rewatch it with adjusted expectations. Thanks for listening.